Hello and welcome, fellow lifelong learners. Thanks for joining me for One More Thing, a radio show all about cultivating our most valuable asset, our mind, and fostering a sense of curiosity to learn one more thing. We feature passionate practitioners and seasoned experts in numerous areas of interest for lifelong learners of all ages. One More Thing is sponsored by Kiffin & Company, a corporate learning and talent development consulting firm, and I'm your host, Kiffin McCoy Albert, a certified professional in talent development, learning advocate, and your fellow lifelong learner. Welcome to the show. Today's show topic is house cleaning. I know. If you're anything like me, house cleaning is not a joy. I always wish I could wave a wand and magically have the broom, mop, duster, whatever come to life and clean for me like in a Disney movie. However, the reality is that no one is going to do it for me unless I hire a housekeeper, which I have done and would love to do more often. My guest today is a professional housekeeper, and she is going to share some of what she sees clients doing that make maintaining a clean house harder, alternatives to harsh chemical cleaners, and tips for those of you wanting to hire a house cleaner. We'll get started right after this.
Maximize impact with tailored solutions by partnering with Kiffin & Company. Developing your team is an investment, but it doesn't have to be just an expense. Discover more at kiffinandcompany.com and start your journey to effective learning today.
I am so excited to have Gena Rivers with me today. She has had private house cleaning clients for over 15 years, but as a mom of now adult children, she feels like she's been professionally cleaning house for her whole life. She now focuses on helping elderly homeowners keep their homes clean by doing the things that her clients can no longer physically do. Gena has a passion for using non-toxic and natural cleaning practices as much as possible, and she thinks many people could make life easier and cheaper for themselves by using some of her best practices. Gena, welcome to One More Thing, and thank you for coming on to share some of your knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me.
Will you start by telling us how you got into house cleaning and why you are now working mostly with elderly folks?
My mother got sick, and she had a house cleaning business, and she got sick and couldn't continue it. And so I picked up her slack until she got better. And so I learned the business. And then I went back to being a secretary and got laid off from being a secretary and needed a job immediately. So I got back into the housekeeping business, and it has served me very well for the last 15 years or so.
Oh, got it. So your mom actually had her own housekeeping business originally.
She did, on Tybee Island, a resort.
Oh, yeah, nice. We talked previously about how so many households you see are doing things that make maintaining their own house harder on themselves, or basically mistakes that they make. So tell me about your recommendations to some of those mistakes and the recommendations to avoid them.
Okay, I guess the first one that comes to mind is chrome fixtures. Most people think if there's some spots on there, some toothpaste or whatever that, or hairspray or anything, the thing to do is to get out a scouring pad and scrub it as hard as they can. Huge mistake. That just puts gouges in it. It's not sealed anymore at that point. It'll start to deteriorate and you'll never get it to shine again. It'll always look dirty.
Is that true then if it's the brass fixtures or the satin nickel? Does it matter what the material is generally? I'm talking bathroom fixtures usually.
It doesn't matter the material. It won't look like a problem because you use the scouring pad, but again, you've destroyed the seal that seals the metal on there. So now it will slowly start to deteriorate. So you'll reduce its life expectancy. Gotcha. For sure.
So how do you avoid that then? What kinds of things do you suggest instead?
Vinegar for starters. Just use vinegar on there for the hard water, and a little elbow grease, a magic eraser as well works really well.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
But yes, just more elbow grease than scouring
Okay.
pad.
So scouring on faucets and such, that's one.
Really, in bathrooms altogether, scouring is a thing of the past. Even Comet doesn't make their it doesn't scour anymore. It is non-scouring.
Oh.
So scouring is a thing of the past. We have slick surfaces that are sealed properly, and when you start scouring, you're ruining whatever you're scouring.
Okay, makes sense.
Let's see. Another one would be the overuse of products. A little generally goes a long way, no matter what cleaning product you're talking about. Extra usually just means more buildup, more things to capture dirt and hold on to it and possibly make it a permanent thing wherever it is, in your clothes or your carpet or your floor or whatever.
Gotcha. I know we had talked before about that with even like the laundry. I've been guilty of that, I know myself. But you're saying that is almost worse.
Yes, you would do much better to wash it twice if you're afraid it's not getting clean. Or rinse, just put a second rinse. Always put a second rinse on your wash. You will get much cleaner clothes by putting that second rinse.
But what about if, let's say that the load is only medium size, but if you actually set it to large so that it'll have more water, is that something that's going to be helpful, or would you still be better off doing a second run or second rinse?
That would be helpful in that if the more room your clothes have to be agitated, they'll get cleaner better. A tight washer is not going to make very clean clothes because they can't really move around.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, so more water is. So
don't
always
overload your washer
either. Yeah, don't overload, and less is more. And if you live like where we live, where we have a lot of hard water, there's a product for dishwashers and washers that's a cleaning product.
Oh, okay.
That's produced by several different companies. The least expensive one is just as good as the most expensive one on those.
Okay.
And those really make a difference. They really, really do make a difference.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so the faucets and the overuse of products.
Yes, and bleaching your grout is a big, big no-no. The reality is the bleach that we buy in the stores has so much water in it that as soon as the chlorine part, the chemical part of the bleach evaporates, it's left behind quite a bit of water for the mold to grow better. Mold also works somewhat like a virus in that if you kill it but not completely dead, it will come back stronger.
Oh.
So bleach is really a terrible, terrible product for grout because it's a porous thing. You do much better to use plain peroxide. Spray it and walk away. You don't have to rinse it. You don't have to scrub it. Spray it and walk away.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that leads me to another question I was going to ask is, I know that you have a passion for using non-toxic or natural alternatives for cleaning. You've said peroxide instead of bleach for cleaning grout. You mentioned vinegar earlier with the faucets and stuff. Tell us a little bit more about that or additional alternative items.
Vinegar is an awesome cleaning product. It was even included as an antiseptic in the kits that the Civil War soldiers carried around. Vinegar was their antiseptic in their kit. So things like cleaning your counters, you're getting them probably cleaner than with Lysol and no residue to make anyone sick. Perfectly healthy, not a problem. You can run it through your coffee maker. Doesn't hurt that. You can use it just about anywhere. It combats hard water and is a little bit of an antiseptic, and it is something you need to be careful with on natural stone because since it will eat the minerals, it's not recommended for natural stone.
Okay, what do you suggest for natural stone?
Honestly, a commercial product made specifically for whatever it is.
Okay.
They're pH balanced to specifically not harm the surface.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't like to spend a whole lot of money on cleaners, but there are certain things that they're designed to keep it in good condition, and that's what you need to use.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, and so for people who, like me, who absolutely cannot stand the smell of vinegar, what are some things you can do to be able to use vinegar other than just putting a clothespin on your nose or something?
You can dilute it with water. If you're going to dilute it, use distilled water. If you use tap water, you won't get shiny mirrors. If you use tap water, use distilled water if you're going to dilute it. You can put a little lemon juice in it, can sometimes help the smell. But really diluting it would be the best option because the smell does linger. So if it really affects you, it could be an issue. But there are other alternative cleaning items that you can use that aren't high dollar or high chemical. Sanitizing your counter, you can use peroxide. It won't hurt anybody. It's actually, you can put it in your mouth. It won't hurt you.
Yeah. Without naming particular manufacturers or anything, those products that say organic or, non-toxic, things like that, or is there something that we could look for in the ingredients or whatever that really shows, yes, that this really is a good one versus they might claim this is organic or clean or non-toxic or whatever, but really it's still got a lot of bad stuff?
I would just do research because I don't know this for certain, but I'm pretty sure that they're not required to put their ingredients on a cleaner. That unlike food, that there's no requirement to give you the actual ingredient list.
Gotcha.
So, but because of the internet and because of what we have out there now, people do pretty much research everything out there, and you can find out, is it really clean? Because some group somewhere has tested, is it clean? Just like with perfumes and nail polishes and, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay, awesome. So really peroxide and vinegar are two really main ones. And then I know we've talked before about floors. So hardwood floors and things like that, it used to always be that you heard use Murphy's oil soap on floors and stuff like that. But I know we talked about the steam mops. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, they recommend now that you never use Murphy's oil soap on floors, on real hardwood floors. If you ever plan to refinish them, don't ever use Murphy's oil soap on them. I use a Shark steam mop, and I am going to use the name brand because I have used everyone out there, and it is the industry standard, and it is the one that really works. But it is really good for cleaning all types of floors, even hardwood. I know people get nervous about water and whatnot on hardwood, but they make them now with a very low setting that's called dusting. And you can clean your floor with just steam. Hardwoods still need to be conditioned regularly if it's a true hardwood. And there again is one of those products that is specifically made from the industry for hardwood floors with the proper conditioners in it. And it really just is nothing better because they have done the research to make those where, otherwise you're just going to guess at it and you may cause yourself an issue.
Gotcha. Man, this has been so interesting. I feel like we could talk more and more and more about all the things we could do with house cleaning. But true to our name, I do have one more thing. And that is, do you have any advice for people who are looking to hire a house cleaner? Like, what should they look for in that person, or what should they ask them?
I would say definitely get real references, since you're having someone come in your house.
And actually contact those
references.
Yes,
actually
right?
Contact the references. I got most all of my clients from referrals. I started with one retired school teacher, and she told another one, and she told another one, and some of them got my name from who they went to church with. So that's a good way for the housekeeper to get a job. But as far as getting your housekeeper, make sure that you do find out truly about them.
So really asking other people who they use is probably your best starting point.
I would really think that would be your best. And if they want the job, they'll give you references. They'll give you people you can actually contact. And the other thing I would say is make sure the homeowner understands that what they're paying for is to get their house clean, not for someone to put in a certain amount of hours. That they are coming there to do a job. And make sure that you both agree up front what it is they're going to do and what you need them to do. Make sure that that's going to work out for everybody. Because there have been a couple of houses that I couldn't continue to clean because I couldn't do what they needed, and they needed things I couldn't do.
Awesome. Yes, that's a really good point, because a lot of people are so used to paying by the hour or understanding an hourly wage. But really, in the sense of having a house cleaner, I don't want to pay 2 hours and they get 2 toilets clean. So understanding that for X amount of dollars, a flat rate, or you're paying me this amount per hour for this many estimated hours, but this is ultimately what I'm going to get for that is really important.
Yes.
And I think we've talked before that the same client, you might not spend the same amount of time at their house 2 different times that you go.
Yes. Things like maybe they had company that week, and so there's more to do than they normally would do. But then for 2 weeks, they were out of town for part of the time, and there's a lot less to do. I don't change my rate. I get the same amount every time to do the same job. Sometimes the job is a little different. My job is to come and finish cleaning your home for you. That's it. So if it's extra or less, now I will say that most of my clients, if they've had company, they do pay me a little extra for the extra work. But for the most part, it just works out. Some days I get done really quickly. Some days it takes me a lot longer.
Right.
It just depends.
And that's really the routine stuff. So if someone has like a big event or whatever, they may hire you to come and help them. And that's kind of a different one-off.
Yes. Yeah. And people should know that deep cleaning items are not part of a regular house cleaning. Cleaning the inside of your refrigerator, the inside of your oven, getting down on hands and knees and scrubbing baseboards. That is not a general clean. That is a deep clean, and it is a different service.
Yeah. I did think of actually one more. So this is a one more thing. And that is, I know that when I've had someone come and clean, my husband gives me such a hard time because I like clean before the cleaner. But I've said to him so many times, but I'm not cleaning. I am picking up our stuff, like kind of straightening, if you will, so that the house cleaner can actually clean.
Yes.
And that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about. You're not there to pick up toys from their children or toys from their dog or their newspaper on the floor. You're there to clean.
That should be one of those beginning conversations before you ever start. What is your expectation of me? What's my expectation of you? In my case, I do not pick up. I make it very clear. I have come to clean your filth. To put it bluntly, I am not here to straighten your home. That's your responsibility. If I come upon, for instance, a desk that is completely covered in items, I dust around what's there. Nothing gets moved. Now, if it's a bathroom counter, I will move whatever's on it to the side, clean it, and move it back. But I am not there to pick up. That is not my job.
Really good reminder. So it's not cleaning before the cleaner. It's straightening so that the cleaner can do their job.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gena, so much for taking time to join me here on One More Thing. And for our listeners, I'll be right back to wrap up the show with my final thoughts for today.
Discover Safe and Sound Soap Company, your go-to for natural, sensitive, skin-friendly products. From laundry soaps to whipped body scrubs and car air fresheners, we offer a healthy alternative for every part of your home. Based in Middle Tennessee, we offer shipping across the United States. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/safeandsoundsoapco. Feel free to drop in our DMs and be on the lookout for our new website coming soon.
You may be wondering how in the world we're going to tie house cleaning back to workplace learning. One of the things that Gena talked about is basically the idea of doing things the same old way. So she said that scouring is no longer a thing. I think she said it's a thing of the past. And when we think about workplace learning, there are so many things that companies are still doing because that's the way they've been done for decades. But that does not mean that it's the best way to do things. So looking at the new equipment that we have, the new technology, the differences in generations and how they think and like to learn, all of those things may mean that the comet is out and simply using vinegar and water is in. And one of the things that's also really interesting about that is I was on a webinar not too long ago where they were showing how to do some interactive things with some really cool technology that's out. But then they also showed about some award-winning ideas that were analog, not needing technology, using playing cards and different things. So there's lots of different ideas. But so that idea of vinegar and water has been around forever. Well, so are these more analog ideas that can really, really spark creativity and learning. So that's one of the big things that came to mind. One other thing that came to mind is when she was talking about hiring a house cleaner. When we think about hiring training professionals, learning and development professionals, really thinking about the skills that they have that go along with what our expectations are. And I could delve deep into this, but really what I am getting to here is that if your team does a lot of leadership training, then obviously you want to have someone who has experience with leadership training. If you are doing a lot of technology training and a lot of that is virtual, you need someone who has skills in virtual facilitation, or perhaps you need instructional designers because you're designing that training and then maybe your team's building it, maybe you're sending it off to another team. But thinking about what it is that the skills that are actually needed to meet your team's goals is so important. So hiring the right housekeeper, a house cleaner. In our case, we're talking about hiring the right learning and development professional. There's so much more we could say about this topic, but unfortunately we are out of time, so I'll have to save it for another day. Thank you again to my guest, Gena Rivers. Thank you also to today's sponsor, Safe and Sound Soap Company. Please check out their Facebook page. They have more than just laundry soap. In fact, they've just released a new product that is a great alternative to fabric softener. And lots of their customers rave about their non-toxic, chemical-free car fresheners, which make great stocking stuffers. I cannot believe it's already getting to be that time of year. And thank you all for listening. I hope you keep tuning in week after week. You've been listening to One More Thing, a radio show on the Power Me Up radio station on iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Kiffin McCoy Albert. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to you tuning in next time as we continue cultivating your mind with one more thing.